Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. On today's same but different episode, we're talking about the difference between cast iron, Enamel cast iron, carbon steel, and light carbon steel cookware. We'll compare the difference between them and talk about each different cookware specialties, how to use them, and what is the best choice for your kitchen based on your need. Check it out. Hi new friend, this is Erica right here. I'm a Taiwanese citizen currently living in America. Cooking and traveling are my passion, so I'm here to share with you my favorite Asian recipes. On each same but different episode, I'm gonna pick a few ingredients, dishes, or other topic that is easy to get mixed up and explain the difference between them and more to you. So if that interests you, please subscribe and keep watching. If you're looking for a healthy, non-toxic cookware, look no further than the iron cookware. Why iron cookware is so great? Here's a few reasons. Number 1, chemical-free non-stick material. A well-seasoned and maintained iron cookware with a sheen on its surface is basically non-stick. That means you can cook with less oil, which in general means it's healthier for you. And since the material itself can be non-stick, there's no need for any chemical coating on its surface. So they are a great alternative to other non-stick coating pans since most contain PFCS, which is a chemical linked to cancer, developmental problems, liver damage, and more. Number 2, long lifespan. A good iron cookware that is well maintained can be passed down in generations. Even though it hasn't been used for a while or it's rusty, you can always find a way to bring back its glory. So if you're talking about eco-friendly options, the iron cookware is definitely the best choice out there. Number 3, adds iron to your food. When you're cooking with the iron cookware, it will slowly release iron content into your food. Due to research, an increase of 16.2% in the iron content was found in the snack cooked in the iron pot than cooked in a Teflon coating non-stick pots. But also according to another research, compared to the 25% absorption rate of iron in red meat, the iron absorption rate from the iron cookware is only 7.5%. So cooking with iron cookware does help a little bit with your RDI, but if you're suffering from anemia, you should probably go see a doctor or take supplement instead of, chewing on your pan. Number 4, super easy to clean. Non-stick cookware is famous for its easy cleaning process, and iron cookware is no exception. On top of that, iron cookware is also scratch-proof, so if you ever burn something in your iron cookware, you can use a steel wool to scratch it as hard as you want and not worry about damaging your pan. Number 5, it can be used in both stove and oven. As long as your iron cookware don't have a plastic or wood handle, you can put it straight into your home oven at any temperature. There are 2 major types of iron material that is used in our daily cookware, which is the cast iron and the carbon steel. The main difference between the cast iron and the carbon steel is the content of carbon. Cast iron has more carbon in it than the carbon steel, which gave them very different attributes and should be used for different purposes. First, let's start with talking about the most well-known material, the cast iron. Raw cast iron is made by pouring high-temperature melted pig iron into a mold made by clay or steel, and wait till it cools down to form the pot and pan's shape. Raw cast iron has a higher than 2% carbon content. It has a lower ductility, so it couldn't be made too thin. But due to its easiness to make, the cost of a cast iron is relatively very cheap. Cast iron skillet and pans are wonderful to have in the kitchen for their durabilities, versatilities, heat retention, and affordabilities. Because they got so hot, they can sear a steak in minutes. And because they're equally safe on the stove and in the oven, you can sear, bake, braise, and roast with them, and you can even use them on a grill or under the broiler. We all know how iron rusts easily, so that makes seasoning and maintaining your cast iron crucial. When your raw cast iron is properly seasoned, they create a surface on the cast iron called patina that can make your cast iron non-stick for most food. But also because this raw material is not refined, there are a lot of micropores on the surface of the cast iron that make it hard to be completely non-stick. So I probably wouldn't use cast iron to make scrambled egg, you know what I mean? Another thing is that if you try to cook acidic food in your raw cast iron, it might destroy the patina and rusted your pan. If you find maintaining and seasoning a raw cast iron too complicated, but you still like its attributes, you can consider getting an Enameled cast iron instead. They look very different, but they're actually the same thing, but just with extra enamel coating on its surface. The rock-hard baked-on glass-based application to the finish make it anti-rust and anti-corrosion. Enamel cast iron is great for roasting, making soup, and it can also be served on a dining table beautifully. The enamel coating is very similar to other non-stick coating, so you don't need to season it or maintain it, and you can cook acidic food in it such as red sauce pasta and lemon pepper shrimp. Although the glass component causes it to be brittle and easy to crack, once the enamel coating is broken, the substance contained in the coating might be released, which can make this pot unsafe to use depends on what type of chemical they're using. To protect the enamel cast iron or any other non-stick coating cookware, first, never dry heat them, because the dry heating will chip the coating over time if not instant. Second, to use a wooden or silicone spatula with it to prevent scratching. Not to mention the beautiful color on the outside of the enamel cast iron can also be scratched too. So if you want to keep it pretty, don't move it back and forth too much while you're using it on the stove. Last but not least, after you use the cookware, make sure it is totally cooled down before you wash them with cold water, because the instant temperature change can also crack the coating. The worst thing about the enamel cast iron is definitely the cost. Here are the two brands of both enamel cast iron and its current price in 2022. Yeah, so if you compare it with the raw cast iron, enamel cast iron is really a lot. But since some of the enamel coating could be toxic depending on color, I wouldn't recommend you to buy any knockoff brand or unknown brand out there. Both raw cast iron and the enamel cast iron has a lower thermal conductivity, which means it takes a long time to heat up and is not easy to cool down. So it is kind of hard to use it to cook multiple dishes all at once, especially the enamel cast iron. Because remember, you have to wait till it completely cools down before you wash it. Cast iron is also very heavy in general, so it is hard to saute with them. And that brings us to our best saute material today, the carbon steel. Carbon steel is a type of steel that contains less than 2% of carbon in it. It is a refined material, so it is harder than cast iron, and that also means it can be made thinner. One big advantage of carbon steel over cast iron is that carbon steel pan can be heated up much more quickly. And because of its higher thermal conductivities, it can be heated up more evenly with fewer hot spots. In Chinese cuisine, most stir-fry dishes are made best out of carbon steel wok. But it is still capable to heat up to a temperature that's high enough to sear through a steak. The carbon steel also requires seasoning to create a patina to make it non-stick and anti-rust. But unlike cast iron, carbon steel cookware are perfect to cook super sticky foods such as scrambled egg, omelets, crepes, as well as fish, which are notoriously for sticking. The smoother surface plus the seasoning are what makes carbon steel so slippery. And because it's lighter, you can use it for sauteing and stir-fry. In Chinese cuisine, we like to cook with carbon steel wok because of its guo qi. In English, you call it the wok qi. The literal meaning of the character means the air of the wok, or some say it's the breath of the wok. It refers to the distinct charred, smoky flavor resulting from stir-frying food over a big open flame in a short period of time. This special flavor only exists in cooking with carbon steel wok. It cannot be replaced with any other material. A brand new carbon steel wok have a chemical coating to prevent it from rusting before we bring it home. The layer will have to be burned off before we use it for the first time. We'll talk more about that in our next week's video, where I teach you how to season a wok and open a wok, as well as how to maintain and use them. So stay tuned. Back in the day in China, the carbon steel wok is huge and embedded in the stove, so you never need to pick it up or flip it around. But nowadays, since we're living in a condo or apartment, we can only buy the handheld wok to stir fry with, which for me is too much of a workout. I know I'm not the only one that's complaining, because the new carbon steel wok is born and becomes super popular in Japan. the light carbon steel wok. When I first heard about the light carbon steel wok, I was thrilled. Light carbon steel wok is a type of carbon steel wok that has been nitrogen processed. By heating, ammonia gas is converted into nitrogen atom and fused with the wok and turned into iron nitride. This protective layer makes the light carbon steel wok rust and corrosion proof, which eliminated the need to apply a chemical anti-rust coating on the surface for shipping. This process also increased the carbon steel hardness. As a result, it can be made way thinner and lighter. The nitrogen process is not some black magic. In fact, it is patented technology since 1913 and is mostly used in industrial rust prevention, and the Japanese figure this technology is perfect for the wok making. The purpose of this layer is anti-rusting, so the non-stick performance will still rely on the consistency of seasoning. Between the 4 different material cookware that we talk about today, there are a few guidelines that you can follow to pick the best one for you. The thicker the pan, the better the heat retention. The thinner the pan, the more mobility, but it's also easier to deform. Besides the Enamel cast iron, the other 3 materials require seasoning and maintenance to prevent rusting and create non-stick surface. The more you use them, the stronger the patina is, the less sticky it is, and the more you're gonna love it. So if you don't cook so often, it might not be worth it for you. I personally own a raw cast iron skillet and a light carbon steel wok, which I use the raw cast iron to cook steak, scallion pancake, roast chicken, casserole, and nachos. And I use my light carbon steel wok every single day to make all of the stir-fry dishes. So now you know the difference between them and the benefit of using this cookware in your kitchen. You can pick the best option for your personal need. Here's the wrap for today's video, and I hope you learned something new today. Before you go, as usual, let's learn some Chinese. The word of the day today is 铸铁锅, cast iron. The first 2 characters 铸铁 means cast iron, and the last character 锅 means cookware. So 铸铁锅 in English is cast iron cookware. Thank you for watching to the end. Let me know if this information is useful for you by giving this video a thumbs up. It's only gonna take you a second, but it means a lot to me. I make video on YouTube every Monday and Thursday, so remember to hit that bell and you'll never miss out. Last but not least, don't forget to subscribe on my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.